Good morning, welcome to the CBS and debrief. I'm David Combe. This Thursday, the 25th of November, which makes it Thanksgiving in the US, and so we'll see the markets close there this evening our time. But last night, really impressive turnaround with the Dow up 150 points. That certainly takes out yesterday's big move of 140 points to the downside, and this was brought about in large part because of improving joblessness numbers. Just switch over here to the economic calendar, and although these weekly numbers normally come up as a low priority, clearly they weren't interpreted that way this time around, with around 407,000 being the figure there, whereas the forecast was 435 and the previous 441. There's also some other data that certainly to my eye looked to be fairly promising. That one there, personal income, expectation was 0.4, previous was 0. It was actually up half percent there. Durable goods, that perhaps wasn't such a good number there, but yeah, we'll go into that in a moment. Let's have a look at the actual figures. So the S&P 500 up 17, or 1.49%, so a slightly better percentage move than the Dow, and the Nasdaq, another strong showing there, up nearly 2%. Over in Europe, not quite as bigger moves, but probably the FTSE there was the standout, actually at 75% points rather. The CAC up 0.62 and the DAX up 1.77. In our region, the Nikkei ended up closing down 85, the Hang Seng up 127, and the S&P ASX 200, after opening down around 40 or so points, we gained most of those losses steadily throughout the course of the day to end up closing down 4.4 points, or 0.1%. And then let's have a look at the futures here, suggesting quite a strong day today, and that'll wipe out Tuesday's losses largely. So up 38, and Hang Seng down 21, Nikkei 225 down 10. Take a look at the commodities. Crude put on a good showing, back up into the mid-80s there, $2.93. Coffee at 204.45. Corn was up 10 3/4. Oats 360.5. Rough rice 13.56.5. Soy at $12.55, that's up 16 cents. Sugar 27.95, and wheat 685.25. Oil was trading at $10.04, and copper at 377.40, which was up 1.7%. Gold came off on the back of the moves last night, just a little, to be down $4.30. Silver was up, 0.3%. And then in our currencies space, the euro is buying 1.3333 US dollars, pound 1.5777, and the US dollar is buying 83.5390 yen, and the US dollar was buying, Aussie rather, was buying 98.27 US cents. And the US dollar was buying 1.0105 Canadian and 0.9963 Swiss francs. So just finish up on that economic data. So as you can see, a lot of this data has already been released. So in terms of the rest of today, we've got some Japanese data out on just prior to 11 o'clock this morning. Most of that's a low import, apart from the trade balance total. Then we've got 12:30, we've got private capital expenditure locally, more data out of Japan or meetings minutes, and European French consumer confidence, Swiss employment, Italian business confidence, and Britain Treasury hearings, and that about wraps it up for Thursday. And then tomorrow, German CPI, year-on-year, month-on-month. A bit more data out of Europe, but nothing of any great note there. So wouldn't expect too much more significant events there to throw things around, unless, of course, the North Koreans decide to start lobbing things at their next-door neighbours. Okay, so let's take a look at the Balkan Trader, and we've got the sample account here, which is using the trade or the stock picks from VectorVest in 3 markets, as we can see: Hong Kong, Australia, and the US. That's still doing reasonably well here. It's given up some of its gains that we saw before, but given that it's just on 3 weeks, we've seen $14,000 unrealised profit there, and we continue to run our Aussie dollar hedge here to offset any adverse currency movements in those US holdings. Take a look now at the couple of the markets here before I finish up. And expectation here would be that we would trade somewhere between 46.30 today. So back above that 4600 level, which I sort of keep on going on about, but does seem to, I think here in the office everyone agrees that that's a pretty important level for us to continue to maintain before we either move upwards or continue to move to the side. Quick look at the Aussie here. A bit of a head and shoulders formation appears to be forming here, but certainly fairly well supported around this level just here at 98, or just below it. I talked about a trade, I think it was earlier in the week, at Ibiza. Unfortunately, we got in at 131 there, and it promptly traded off down to about 119. So it wasn't a particularly auspicious start to that trade. Hopefully, we've found some support here at 120, and we'll continue to move up higher, and a bit of patience there, and back above 130 hopefully. Keep the fingers crossed there. Okay, just having a look here at Kingsgate. It's another stock that I talk about a fair bit here. Dipped down quite low there, in the low 10s at least, yesterday. Fairly good opportunity, I would have thought, to be accumulating a little bit here at these levels. Okay, and then just to finish up, quick look at the US dollar index. And we can see that that moved up a little bit overnight, but appears to have largely closed at the level it opened up at, and then traded in a range there. And we can actually see what that is by going to our measuring tool. 79.50 and 80, so about a half cent trading range there to either, or quarter of a cent to either side of that opening position around 79.80 odd. Okay, so starting to see that stochastic rollover here a little bit, which might indicate that we're going to see the momentum changing a bit there perhaps. Okay, so finish up there as always. Thanks for your attention and interest. Hope you found that worthwhile, and we'll speak again next week. Bye for now.